Hello Ramblers, welcome to another episode of the Sports Locker. I'm Taylor Utzig.
And I'm Ruddy. Thanks for tuning in. History was made this week for the women's basketball team, and the men's volleyball team showed that they're talented in more ways than one.
And the men's basketball team suffered yet another Missouri Valley Conference loss. You can catch all that and more on today's Rambler Sports Locker. Loyola's men's volleyball team is looking for its third straight NCAA national championship this season, but the Ramblers have suffered two big losses. Not games, but valuable team assets. Madeline Kenny has more.
It's a new season for Loyola's men's volleyball team, and if you've gone to a game this season, you might have noticed a few familiar faces missing. Star outside hitter Thomas Jeske and the now former head coach Shane Davis are no longer Ramblers. Jeske announced in July that he would be foregoing his senior season to go play professional volleyball in Poland. He said this was not an easy decision for him.
At that point, I was kind of started to think, well, I want to make the Olympic team, and if I went back to school and I didn't make the Olympic team, then I would think, what if I had left, and if I leave and I don't make the Olympic team, then at least I know I did everything I could to try and make that team. It all happened really, really fast, and obviously it's a cool experience for me and life-changing for sure.
While at Loyola, Jeske was named the 2014 and 15 Conference Player of the Year. During his final season as a Rambler, he led the team in kills, digs, and service aces. Another bombshell shook the team when head coach Shane Davis announced his resignation 6 days before Loyola played their first game of the season. Davis had accepted a new head coaching position at Northwestern University, coaching women's volleyball. After spending nearly half his life at Loyola, he decided it was time to move on. But he said it wasn't easy.
It was the toughest decision of my life. It was leaving 18 years of Loyola behind me, and it spent over half my life at Loyola. I got married there, in the Madonna della Strada. So there was just so much history and so many relationships there that it was really tough.
During his 12-season tenure, Davis became the winningest coach in program history. He won 2 consecutive NCAA national championship titles, 3 consecutive conference championship titles, 4 conference coach of the year accolades, and a national coach of the year honor, only to name a few of his many accomplishments.
The Ramblers were off to a slow start of the season without Davis and Jeske, but they seem to have picked up their tempo after they swept through a 4-match homestand. The most recent one being against the University of Charleston, where the Ramblers were led by Ben Playset and Will Tischler, who rallied 8 kills apiece. The Ramblers will open up MIVA play this weekend as they take on Quincy and Lindenwood. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Madeline Kenny. The men's volleyball team is on a 5-game winning streak heading into MIVA play. Women's basketball, however, is looking to start their own winning streak. Yes, the Ramblers just beat Illinois State on Sunday. The win marks a historic moment in the women's basketball program. The 57-41 victory marks the first win for the Rambler women at Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois. Despite a slow start in the first quarter, a 13-point run and double-digit scoring from 3 Ramblers led Loyola to the win. Taylor Johnson led the stats with a game-high 16 points, followed by Taylor Manuel with 13 and Nico Wheeler with 10. Loyola's defense came out strong. The Ramblers were able to hold the Redbirds to 22% shooting from the field, the lowest percent since Loyola faced Bradley last season. This on-the-road win takes the Ramblers to 9-9 overall and 5-2 in the Missouri Valley Conference. The Rambler women will be returning to Gentile Friday to take on Northern Iowa. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Johnson is having a breakout season for the Ramblers, but she didn't always have the durability she's had this year. Ralph Brassett has more on Johnson this year.
Redshirt junior Taylor Johnson came to Loyola with high hopes. She performed well as a freshman, but 5 games into her sophomore year, an athlete's nightmare, a season-ending torn ACL.
Mentally I got to see what I was made of. I prayed a lot. My faith is something that really gets me through anything in life, but especially that time in my life.
NCAA champ, Naismith Player of the Year, Olympic triple gold medal winner, WNBA superstar, and now Loyola's coach, Cheryl Swoops, challenged Taylor Johnson to step up. And she did. Big time.
Growth, maturity, experience, hunger.
Johnson scores 14 points a game. As a 5'7" guard, is the third leading rebounder, and she leads the Ramblers in assists, steals, and free throw percentage. World champion and head coach Swoops likes her performance, but says it can be better.
You know, there are definitely areas that we continue to work on every day. Her off-the-ball defense, I think she could get better at. But I think, you know, Taylor's very coachable.
Being able to take criticism and not take it personally, but just realize that it's going to, you know, make the team better.
With a 5-2 record in the Missouri Valley, the Ramblers have set their eyes on a conference title, the conference tournament, and they want a bracket seeding at the NCAA tournament. If that is to happen, and Swoops thinks it could, the Lady Ramblers will have to look to one of their leaders, Taylor Johnson, to lead the charge.
I'm trying to be more vocal, not only being a leader by example, but a leader vocally too, because that's something I've always struggled with. So I'm trying to be more vocal this year to help out the underclassmen a lot more.
Thanks, Ralph. The Loyola men's basketball team was steamrolled by the 22nd ranked Wichita State Shockers last night at Koch Arena. The Shockers used a 17-2 second half run to break open what was already a 13-point lead en route to an easy 80-54 victory. Seniors Montel James and Earl Peterson both led the Ramblers with 11 points apiece. Loyola hopes to rebound from this brutal defeat this Saturday when they host Indiana State at Gentile Arena. The Ramblers will be seeking vengeance from a 15-point defeat earlier this season.
The Loyola men's soccer team unveiled their spring schedule a few days ago. The Ramblers start the new year at Western Michigan in mid-March and go on to play Wisconsin as well as Lewis University and Chicago rival UIC. Head coach Neil Jones said that the spring season is an extremely important part of the season for player and team development. He went on to state that it is important to continue to build on the momentum and progress the program started last fall. Now over to Dylan Conover to discuss this week's number on By the Numbers.
Hey, I'm Dylan Conover. Welcome to By the Numbers. The number for this week is 49. Devin Turk is known for his three-point shooting, but believe it or not, he's fourth on the team in defensive rebounds with 49. Loyola men's basketball is struggling this season. They had gone into their most recent game against Wichita State having made 449 field goals. The only problem is that their opponents had also scored 449 field goals. They were just handed their worst loss of the season at Wichita State yesterday. The Shockers led for 39 minutes and 49 seconds of the game. It only took them 11 seconds to score and take their permanent lead. Oddly enough, Turk didn't play. Loyola will need his three-point shooting if they want to make a dent in the conference. Speaking of basketball and losses, in 1999 the Bulls lost to the Miami Heat 82-49. The Bulls were fresh off their second three-peat championship run, but the team was without Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. That score was the lowest score for the Bulls team ever, and at the time it was the lowest score for an NBA team in 49 years. Current head coach Fred Hoiberg was on the team at the time. You can be sure he won't allow that to happen ever again. Chris Sale wears the number 49 on his jersey. The White Sox's ace is a bona fide top 5 pitcher in the American League and arguably a top 5 pitcher in the Major League as a whole. Consistently in the Cy Young Award voting, he remains a bright spot on an otherwise underachieving White Sox team. Fortunately, he's young, and any rebuilding and ultimate contending the Sox do will have him on the mound. The words great, successful, and champions have recently been associated with the Blackhawks. 3 titles in 6 years in the modern age of salary caps in the NHL is incredible, and the Hawks have become a template of how to successfully run a team, but it wasn't always the case. The Hawks won their first of their 3 recent titles in 2010, but that was the first title in 49 years. Fortunately, the future looks much brighter, and more success is the prediction. In a year that was supposed to be a rebuild, after losing many players, the Hawks find themselves still in first place in the Western Conference. Weird how success brings more success, right? Finally, Gale Sayers is regarded as one of the greatest running backs who ever played the game. Around 4,900 total rushing yards in a relatively short career. Statistically, he might not pop out. He does hold second place for the most points scored by one player in a game. He scored 6 touchdowns on December 12th. The opponent? The San Francisco 49ers. The Kansas Comet retired after injuries hampered his ability to play, but he was still honored with a Hall of Fame vote in 1977. That's all I have for you today. I'm Dylan Conover with By the Numbers. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan.
A new school semester means new recruits. Quinn Speaker of Burlington, Wisconsin will join the signing class for women's volleyball. A 6'3" outside hitter, Speaker's resume speaks for itself. While playing for Burlington High School, Speaker was a 3-time first-team All-State player and an Under Armour third-team All-American. Coach Chris Musket praised Speaker's talent as a player and says she will be a great addition to the already talented group of Ramblers. Speaker will join the previously announced signing class of Anna Fluent, Lauren Stefanski, and Allison Watson at Loyola in the fall.
Loyola's men's volleyball team just dropped a hot new single called I'm a Rambler. The song features sophomore Ben Playstead and senior Nick Olson in the most compelling music video of the season. The motives for the song's creation are currently unknown. It might be recruiting or perhaps a fear tactic. Regardless, with the word Rambler appearing 64 times, averaging once every 4 seconds, it's safe to say this music video is filled with Rambler pride. And now we send it over to Bridget for this week's Ramble.
Hey there, Rambler fans. Welcome to the new season, the 2016 season of the Ramble. New year, new Ramble. Same contestants. Mike and Trisha are back with us this week. And 2016 is a big year for a lot of things, most specifically the Super Bowl, most super of all bowls. The NFL is celebrating the 50th anniversary of its championship game, and the Broncos and the Panthers will be facing off. And my question this week to you two is, who deserves to win that title, the winner of Super Bowl 50? Mike.
You know, I'd like to thank the selection committee for bringing me here and having me on the show. I appreciate that. And then I'm going to get right into it. It's Cam Newton. Cam Newton deserves to win the Super Bowl.
Why?
He won the Heisman and the national championship in the same year at Auburn. Doing so, he came into the NFL. He debuted in his first game with 422 passing yards. Nobody else has ever done that in the history of the league. In his first season, he had 4,000 passing yards, the most by a rookie ever. He had 706 rushing yards, the most by a rookie ever. He had 14 rushing touchdowns, the most by any quarterback ever.
This is Super Bowl 50, though. He's done a lot of good things. Every player to get to the NFL has done a lot of good things. Why does he deserve this title this year?
Well, this year he tied Steve Young's record for the most games with a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown with 31. He set a new NFL record with 35 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns, again, this year. He's had a great year. He's going to be the MVP whether he wins the Super Bowl or not. And honestly, he deserves it. He's had a great year.
Okay, Trisha.
Okay, well, I'm going with the Denver Broncos as a whole, the franchise. They originated in about 1960, and Carolina's only been around for like 20 plus years. I mean, not that long.
So age before beauty is what you're trying to say.
Exactly. And out of the Denver franchise, many great players, like John Elway, arguably one of the best quarterbacks ever in the NFL. And now we got Peyton Manning, who's the quarterback. And he's fallen a little bit, maybe not at the top of his game anymore, but he's still a really great player. And I just think they've had a good season, and they fought, and they deserve to be here and win that Super Bowl this year.
Well, we're talking about the league as a whole. There are a lot of teams who never won a Super Bowl. Don't they deserve to win? Super Bowl 50, that's 50 times that people have a chance to win, and they haven't had any. What about those teams? Are there any other teams that are not in this game that you think deserve that crown?
No, because I think you need to, who's never won a Super Bowl? The Lions. There's a reason there. I'm just saying, you need to have some talent behind you to win. We're not just going to give this great honor to anybody about Super Bowl 50. You need to fight to get there and have some talent behind you.
There's not one team that hasn't made it to the game that you think might deserve it?
I would say the Giants. The Giants are a great team.
Giants fan.
They had a bad year.
Here we go.
But honestly, Eli Manning is a top-level quarterback. I also just want to state for the record, Tom Coughlin shouldn't have been fired. But that's just me.
Irrelevant, but okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Fun facts.
Okay, so any closing comments about why your team deserves to win?
You can go.
Cam Newton deserves to win because he has karma on his side. Have you seen all of his highlights, giving out footballs to little kids? Have you seen the looks on their faces when he gives out those footballs? Could you imagine at the Super Bowl, Cam Newton driving in the fourth quarter. 2 minutes left. Game is running out. The clock is at 3 seconds. Rushes in, jumps over, gives the kid a football. What is that going to do for a little kid?
Okay,
You think Peyton Manning is going to do that for a kid?
Yeah,
no, he's
because-
going to keep the football for his own personal collection because he's
Okay.
selfish.
No,
and
he's
a-
not.
Back to the argument, though. Trisha, last
If any
word?
football player gave it to the kid's gonna be happy. But anyway, I think Cam Newton's great and all, but I just think it's not his time yet. It's not his time, and I think the Denver Broncos deserve to win this, and he's overplayed. But
Man, I really do want to see Cam Newton give that football away, though. Mike, you have finally done it. You've won a Ramble. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Bridget. And with that, thanks for joining us for this week's episode. I'm Connor Ruddy.
And I'm Taylor Utzig. Tune into next week's episode for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.